Hi. So I'm trying something new, and I'm gonna put myself in the video again. It's been a while, and then I thought I would try, making it look like we're in a classroom and I'm teaching on the board. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know if you're gonna have trouble seeing what I'm writing. I'll try to write big. When I see you in class, you tell me how it went. If you like it, maybe I'll try to do it again. I'm trying to get the video done. It's Friday afternoon, Friday before Super Bowl. And I'm feeling like I'm not gonna wanna do anything on the weekend like this. And I'm definitely not gonna wanna get up on Monday morning at 4 a.m. So it's Friday afternoon and I'm doing it. Okay, so we are going to be in this packet and we are turning to page 10, which is lesson 4. And we're gonna start adding to our equations. So we are at the point where we've practiced two-step equations and we're gonna start going into multi-step equations. So our goal all of the time is to take an equation and basically turn it into a two-step. And that's why you needed to be kick butt two-step ninjas, because I'm hoping once we get it to a two-step, you'll be good. However, I have plans for your class time together where we're gonna, everybody's gonna be working on something different based on whatever level you're at. So if you're still feeling uncomfortable with two steps, I have a plan for that too. Okay, and if you're a super awesome rock star at multi-step, I have a plan for that too. All right, so we're gonna start on section C on page 10, see where it says combine like terms, remember to keep the variable part the same. So I'm just gonna go through a few of these just to make sure we're kind of on the same page. My anticipation is that I think you're gonna be okay with this. We went over this together on day 1 of equations and it seemed like you knew what I was talking about. So first problem is 2y plus 18y. So we wanna know how many y's we have. So when you combine like terms, you keep the variable the same and you look at the coefficients, the number in front of the variable, right? So look at the coefficients and this is positive 2 or 2 plus 18, and you can put that into your calculator and you would get 20. So you have 20y. Next problem, number 2. Sometimes weird things come up. You saw this if you did the scavenger hunt. Sorry, Monday, Tuesday crew, you did not get the scavenger hunt because of the snow day. I have a plan for that too. All right, so we have number 2 is 15h minus negative 3h. So this came up, and so what we want to do is remember that if we're combining like terms, both of these terms have an h. So you know when you combine this, it's going to be something h. So essentially we have 15 minus negative 3. So depending on how you handle that, it's going to be the same as if it was an integer problem. So you could put this in your calculator, 15 minus negative 3. Make sure when you put it in the calculator, there's 2 dashes. Or I know if I want to take it to the side a little bit, my mental math tells me, right, let's do it on here. 15 minus a negative 3, right? Subtracting a negative, remember we talked about this in September. Subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive, okay? So we're going to be doing 15 plus 3. So we would get what for our coefficient when we combine these? 18h. So what you want to do right now is make sure if you're using the calculator that you get the 18. Don't just assume that if you did this on your own you would get it right. You have to do it because there is definitely places on that calculator that I'm seeing people make mistakes because they think that they would know how to do it when it comes down to it, and then they get down to it and they don't know how to do it because they didn't practice. Number 3, you have negative 2r minus 12. There's the bell. All right, time to go home, Mrs. Raymond. All right, number 3, we have 2 terms. Each one of them has an r in it. So just so you know, I would call these variable terms because the terms have variables in them. If we have a term that doesn't have a variable in it, what do we call it? A constant. So the terms that don't have letters, that don't have variables, are called constants. Remember that? All right, so what I'm going to do is I know that I'm going to combine these. You have negative 2r minus 12r. Or you have a negative 2r and a negative 12r. So I know that when I combine them, I'm going to get something r. Negative 2 minus 12. Negative 2 minus 12. Negative 14. So you have, say like you lost 2 points in a game, and then you get up again and you lose another 12 points. You are now further behind than you were to start. So 2 negatives is going to be something even more negative. So I do see a lot of errors when we combine terms that are both negative. So be very careful when you are combining terms with 2 negatives. The result is going to be something that's even more negative. Make sense? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see, right? We'll see. All right, now we're going to kind of move on because I have to keep my lessons kind of short. We're going to go to the next page. Tink. I cut my finger on a staple today. All of you that sent me emails, I don't have packet 4. I know. So I went to the copy room and I'm trying to get the staple out of the one copy I had left, and I cut my finger and I was bleeding everywhere. It was crazy, but I have your packets and I sanitize everything. All right. That's just a little side note. All this dangerous work to get you your packet 4s. So this is number 1 on page 11. Oh goodness, oh goodness. It's kind of breaking my rule a little bit. All right, so first thing we're gonna do, so we're adding one more element to our equation solving. You can see on the left-hand side that you have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. Now we're typically used to seeing 2 terms because we have the 2-step, right? So what you're gonna wanna do before you solve it is combine like terms. Then this is going to become a 2-step. So what I'm gonna do is like we did on that first day with the notes is I'm gonna box like terms. So I have 3x, and then where is another term that has an x in it? Right here. When you box your terms, and sometimes you're gonna get to the point where you don't actually box them, but in your head you imagine it. You wanna make sure you're including the sign with the term. So you have 3x plus 2x, which would give you something x, right? So 3 and 2, or 3 plus 2 is 5x. Now you're going to combine the terms that don't have letters. What do you call terms that do not have letters? Constants. So combine the constants, 4, positive 4, and positive 5. So we're just doing 4 plus 5 is plus or positive 9 equals 34. Now we're at a 2-step. This is my code. Oh, you can't see it. Let me move it over. Ting, ting, ting. Actually, I'm going to do this. 2-step. TS. 2-step. It's amazing when we get into this that we'll do all this crazy hard stuff. You get down to a 2-step and kids don't recognize that they're at the 2-step. So I tend to really overemphasize when we've gotten to the 2-step. So the 2-step is get rid of the constant, then get rid of the coefficient. The constant here is 9. I'm going to go faster here because we've been working on 2 steps. So subtract 9. What's the rule for subtraction? If you subtract, you do it once to each side. So now we're solving, right? 9 minus 9 is 0. That leaves you with 5x equals 34 minus 9, which is 25. And I'm pumped because I can see this is going to work out to be an integer solution. This is 5 times x. The inverse of multiplication is division. So in my class, we are always going to be dividing to turn our coefficients to 1 for now. So remember, when you divide in algebra, what's the rule for division? You have to divide every single term, and I'm pretty excited because I only have 2 terms that I have to divide. 5 divided by 5 is 1. I get x equals 5, and I box my answer. Don't worry if you're missing doing checks. I'm getting to the checks. I have a whole thing with that. I was a check hater when I was a kid, and I used to kind of check cheat. And so I don't want you check cheating. So I have a plan for teaching you how to check that you're actually going to want to do the checks. So hang in with me on the check thing. We're getting there. Next problem and last problem. So stay with me, okay? You're taking notes, right? Because I'm going to check them. Doing all this work, I'm staying on a Friday. You better be taking the notes with me. All alone. I'm all alone in the building. Everybody's gone. Custodian's gonna come and be like, why is this lady talking to herself? I'm in the dark because the downlight, you couldn't really see the board. So extra especially weird if you're peeking in my room right now. Oh, hope you can hear me. 7 halves. Oh my gosh, there's fractions! It's okay. We're gonna do the same thing that we did when there wasn't fractions. So we can see that this isn't your average everyday two-step, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 terms on the left-hand side. It can't be a two-step. We're gonna combine like terms. Do the same thing we did before. Box the terms that have the variable in it. So you have, and don't worry about the fraction right now. 1/2 x, and then you have negative 2x. So you're gonna have something x when you combine them, right? It's gonna be something x. Something x. What is 1/2 minus 2? So in your calculator, you're gonna do 1, ABC button, 2, making sure I'm saying the right numbers, minus 2. What do we get here? We get negative 3, what are you guys gonna get? 3 halves, I think, if you do it in your calculator. So it's either negative 1.5 or negative 3 halves. I think your calculator will give you 3 halves. Now, what do we have? 6 and then 1/2. So what's 6 plus 1/2? I'm gonna go with 6.5. Bam! Equals 7 halves. I need to get my calculator out. Hold on a second. I'm guessing, forgot my calculator. I'm afraid I make a mistake. I didn't do the key. All right, so now we have a two-step. See how there's 2 terms on the left-hand side? You have a coefficient and a constant, classic two-step. TS, two-step, boom. Which one's the constant? So to solve 2 steps, you're gonna get rid of the constant first. Which number over here is the constant? This is a question, I need you to know the answer. It's the positive 6 halves, or the plus 6 halves. There's no variable here. So we're going to rid that first. Opposite. So if it's plus 6.5, we're gonna do minus 6.5. Once on each side, folks. I know that these are additive inverses. See how they have the same number, different signs? They're going to add to 0. That gives me negative. I'm getting tired. I'm making noises, right? I think I always make noises. So on the left-hand side, don't forget that it's negative 3 halves. Bring that down. What is 7 halves minus 6.5? So you need to do this in your calculator right now. Pause it, pause it, pause it, pause it. If you don't have your calculator, please do this, because you're just watching me and you're just writing down what I'm writing down, and you're not giving yourself the opportunity to make the mistakes that I need you to make, especially on the calculator. If we're gonna be using the calculator, and I'm gonna say, and I'm not gonna teach you how to do this by hand, then I need you to make sure that you're experts here. So we're gonna do 7, can you see this? ABC button, where is it? It's right here. 7 ABC button 2 minus 6 ABC button 1 ABC button 2. Your thing should look like this. It should look like this. All right, enter. Oh, I get negative 3, woohoo. Now we have the coefficient left. So I told you, in my class, we're just going to divide by coefficients to make them 1. There's other ways that we've talked about. So the coefficient is negative 3 halves. So I'm gonna divide every single term by negative 3 halves. I'm pretty pumped that I don't have like all these terms. Negative 3 halves divided by negative 3 halves is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. I'm feeling like that is not something we're solid on right now. And we must be, all right? So you can write 1x here if you want, whatever. I don't like it, looks funny. And then you have negative 3 divided by negative 3 halves, which is essentially the same as multiplying by 2/3. So you're gonna do negative 3, right? Negative 3, do this with me. You're supposed to be doing this with me. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 ABC2, and I get, what'd you get? I got 2. Super. And when you get an answer of 2, you're feeling good, right? You think, I probably did this right. When you get answers like 2.6 or 2.3, then you're thinking, I must have screwed something up. That's when you're gonna wanna do those checks. So we'll get into that. We're gonna do like a whole check lesson. For right now, I'm at like 14 minutes. I have to go. So lesson 4 homework on page 12. That's for you to do. Please do it. There's 3 problems. Get your practice in, and I'll see you tomorrow for whatever video I'm gonna do. Bye. No, bye.